Class 10th History Chapter 1. Rise of Nationalism in Europe. Here we go in 15 minutes. The French Revolution and the idea of the nation. In 1789, the French Revolution shook France. The monarchy, led by King Louis XVI, was overthrown by people demanding liberty, equality, and fraternity. Peasants, workers, and the middle class were angry about unfair taxes, food shortages, and no suffrage or right to vote. The National Assembly was formed, ending feudal privileges. The storming of the Bastille symbolized people's power. France was no longer a kingdom. It was a movement for a nation. In 1791, France got a constitution, making it a constitutional monarchy. Laws were now made by elected representatives, but only rich men had suffrage. Women and the poor were still left out. The Declaration of the Rights of Man and Citizen declared freedom for all, but did everyone get it? No. Still, ideas of citizenship and national identity grew stronger. People started calling themselves French citizens rather than subjects of a king. A new era had begun. France wanted others to experience freedom too. Revolutionary armies marched across Europe, destroying old monarchies. Napoleon Bonaparte, a strong leader, took charge and spread the idea of nation-states. France introduced new laws, like the Napoleonic Code, making laws equal for all, except women. People in other countries saw this and felt a new sense of unity. Nationalism wasn't just a dream anymore. It was a powerful force ready to change Europe forever. Napoleon wanted a French empire, not just a nation. He conquered many places, spreading nationalism but also ruling with an iron fist. People at first welcomed his reforms, but soon resisted his control. His downfall in 1815 after the Battle of Waterloo left Europe confused should they go back to kings or embrace nationalism. The Congress of Vienna restored old rulers, but the dream of nation-states had already taken root. The revolution had planted a seed that wouldn't die. The making of nationalism in Europe. Unlike France, Europe had no nation-states. Only big empires like the Austrian Empire, where many different ethnic groups lived under one ruler. People didn't feel united as Italians or Germans because their regions had separate rulers, languages, and customs. The idea of a nation was still growing, but monarchs and aristocrats wanted to keep power. However, nationalism was a fire waiting to spread across Europe. With the Industrial Revolution, a new class emerged: the middle class, merchants, professionals, and business owners. They wanted a nation with a common identity, free markets, and a government chosen by the people. Suffrage was demanded, but monarchs ignored them. Language, culture, and history became tools to unite people. Romanticism in art and literature made nationalism emotional, linking people to their past and making them dream of a united future. By the early 1800s, nationalism was political, not just cultural. People wanted liberalism, a government chosen by the people, with freedom of speech, suffrage, and equality. Revolutions erupted in France, 1830, 1848, where people overthrew kings for democracy. In Germany and Italy, nationalists wanted unity, but faced powerful monarchs. The Frankfurt Parliament tried uniting Germany, but without support from the king, it failed. The struggle for nationalism was far from over. Scared by revolutions, conservative rulers tried stopping nationalism. After Napoleon's fall, the Congress of Vienna, 1815, restored monarchies, hoping to kill nationalism. But ideas of freedom couldn't be erased. In Eastern and Central Europe, different ethnic groups like Hungarians and Slavs demanded their own nations. The battle between old rulers and new nationalists shaped Europe's future, setting the stage for the unification of Italy and Germany. The Age of Revolutions, 1830 to 1848. In 1830, France overthrew its king, Charles X, replacing him with a constitutional monarchy under Louis Philippe. Inspired, Belgium broke free from the Dutch, and nationalists in Poland fought against Russian rule. But many revolts failed because monarchs crushed them. Still, liberalism and nationalism were spreading like wildfire. The idea of a nation-state, where people shared a common identity, became stronger than ever. By 1848, the French people were done with monarchy. They forced Louis Philippe to flee and declared France a republic. This time, Men, not women, got universal suffrage. Every man could vote. The new government promised jobs and rights, but when it failed to deliver, people revolted again. Soon, Louis Napoleon, Napoleon Bonaparte's nephew, became ruler, proving that revolutions didn't always lead to democracy. Still, the spark of nationalism kept burning across Europe. Inspired by France, revolutionaries in Germany and Italy demanded unification. The Frankfurt Parliament, 1848, tried to unite German states under one emperor, but the Prussian king rejected it. He didn't want a crown from the people. In Italy, revolutionaries fought to kick out foreign rulers, but the Austrian army crushed them. Even though these revolts failed, they proved that people were willing to fight for nationalism and democracy, setting the stage for future unifications. Despite the revolts, monarchs and nobles regained control. Austria, Russia, and Prussia crushed rebellions and kept their empires intact. Women, who fought alongside men, were ignored and denied suffrage. Many revolutionaries were arrested or exiled. However, these revolutions weren't a waste. They planted the seeds for future national movements. The dream of nation-states was now alive, and it was only a matter of time before Italy and Germany finally united. The making of Germany and Italy. In the early 19th century, Germany wasn't a single country. It was 39 small states, ruled by different kings and princes. The most powerful among them were Prussia and Austria. People spoke the same language and shared a culture, but had no nation-state. The Frankfurt Parliament, 1848, tried to unite Germany with a constitution, but the Prussian king rejected it. The dream of German unification was alive, but it needed a strong leader to succeed. Germany's unification was led by Otto von Bismarck, the Prime Minister of Prussia. He believed in blood and iron, meaning wars, not speeches, would unite Germany. First, he fought Denmark, 1864, then defeated Austria, 1866, to make Prussia dominant. Finally, in 1870–71, he provoked a war with France, Franco-Prussian War, and won. In 1871, Germany was officially united, and Kaiser Wilhelm I was declared the emperor of a powerful German empire. Like Germany, Italy was divided into many states. The northern part was controlled by Austria, the central region by the Pope, and the south by the Spanish Bourbon kings. Italians shared a common language and history, but were ruled by different rulers. The movement for unification was led by nationalists like Giuseppe Mazzini, who founded Young Italy. He believed in democracy and revolution, but unifying Italy needed more than just ideas. It needed action. The real fight for Italy's unification began with Giuseppe Garibaldi, a warrior who led the Red Shirts, a volunteer army. In 1860, he marched through southern Italy, defeating the Spanish rulers. Meanwhile, Count Cavour, the Prime Minister of Piedmont Sardinia, cleverly united northern Italy by defeating Austria. Garibaldi handed over his conquered lands to King Victor Emmanuel II, bringing Italy closer to unification. The dream of a united Italy was almost complete. By 1871, both Germany and Italy had achieved unification, but challenges remained. In Italy, the Pope refused to accept the new government, and Venice and Rome were united later. Germany became a powerful empire under Kaiser Wilhelm I, but Bismarck ruled with an iron fist, limiting suffrage and democracy. Despite challenges, nationalism had triumphed. Germany and Italy were no longer just ideas. They were real, united nation-states, changing Europe forever. Visualizing the nation. Since a nation is an idea, artists used female allegories, imaginary female figures, to represent it. Countries were shown as women because they symbolized strength, freedom, and unity. Paintings, flags, and statues created a sense of national identity. This helped people feel connected to their nation, even if they had never met. Art became a tool for nationalism, making the idea of a united country feel real in people's hearts and minds. France was represented by Marianne, wearing a red cap, symbol of liberty, while Germany had Germania, shown with a sword and crown of oak leaves, symbol of bravery. These figures appeared in paintings, coins, and stamps, making nationalism visible and relatable. They inspired people to fight for their nation, much like a flag does today. Such symbols helped unite people, giving them a common identity and making them feel proud of their country. Nationalism and imperialism. Nationalism wasn't always about unity. It also created rivalries. Once nations formed, they started competing for power, land, and resources. Industrialized countries wanted colonies for raw materials, leading to imperialism, control over weaker nations. European powers like Britain, France, and Germany fought for colonies in Africa and Asia. Nationalism, which once united people, was now dividing the world into enemies and pushing nations toward war. The Balkans, Southeast Europe, had many ethnic groups: Serbs, Greeks, Bulgarians, Romanians, who wanted independence from the Ottoman Empire. Nationalism made them fight for their own nation-states, but big powers like Russia and Austria-Hungary interfered for their own interests. The Balkans became a region full of conflicts, known as the powder keg of Europe. One small spark here could explode into a major war, and that's exactly what happened in 1914. In 1914, nationalism caused the biggest disaster, World War I. A Serbian nationalist assassinated Archduke Franz Ferdinand of Austria, triggering a chain reaction. Austria declared war on Serbia, and soon, Germany, Russia, Britain, and France were dragged in. Nationalism, which once brought unity, had now turned into extreme pride and hatred. The dream of nation-states had led to imperialism, rivalries, and war, changing Europe forever. Brief recap. In 1789, the French Revolution overthrew the monarchy, introducing liberty, equality, and fraternity. People became citizens instead of subjects. Ideas of suffrage and democracy spread across Europe, inspiring nationalism, the belief that people with a common culture should have their own nation. Napoleon spread nationalism by introducing reforms like the Napoleonic Code, but he also ruled like a dictator. He conquered Europe, but his defeat in 1815 led to the Congress of Vienna, which restored old monarchies. Yet, the idea of nation-states had already spread, making it impossible to erase nationalism. Europe was ruled by multi-ethnic empires, Austrian, Russian, Ottoman, where different cultural groups wanted their own nation-states. The middle class and revolutionaries fought for unification and democracy, but monarchs resisted. Nationalism wasn't just about culture, it became a powerful political force. Inspired by nationalism, people across France, Belgium, Poland, Italy, and Germany revolted. France became a republic in 1848, and Frankfurt Parliament tried to unify Germany. But revolts lacked unity, and monarchs crushed them. Still, the dream of nation-states remained strong, waiting for the right leaders. By 1850, monarchs reclaimed power, crushing revolutions with military force. Women, who fought for democracy, were denied suffrage. In Austria-Hungary and the Balkans, different ethnic groups still wanted independence. Though revolts failed, nationalist ideas kept growing, leading to future unifications. Germany was divided into 39 states until Otto von Bismarck, the Prussian prime minister, used blood and iron wars to unite them. He defeated Denmark, 1864, Austria, 1866, and France, 1871. Germany finally united under Kaiser Wilhelm I, becoming a strong empire led by Prussia. Italy was divided under foreign rulers. Giuseppe Mazzini inspired nationalism. Cavour united the North, and Garibaldi's red shirts conquered the South. In 1861, King Victor Emmanuel II united Italy. But Venice and Rome joined later, completing unification by 1871. Nationalism had finally won. Nationalism needed symbols to unite people. France had Marianne, liberty, and Germany had Germania, strength. Flags, coins, and paintings spread these ideas. Art made national identity feel real, inspiring people to fight for their nations. Symbols made nationalism stronger and unforgettable. As nationalism grew, so did rivalries. Countries wanted colonies for resources, leading to imperialism. In Balkans, many ethnic groups wanted their own nation-states, but big powers like Russia and Austria interfered. Nationalism, once a uniting force, now divided nations and created conflicts. In 1914, nationalism led to war. A Serbian nationalist assassinated Archduke Franz Ferdinand of Austria, sparking World War I. Nations, driven by pride and competition, formed alliances and fought. Nationalism, which once united people, had now turned into a deadly force, changing Europe forever. And that's the end of your first history chapter twice. Subscribe so that you won't miss out on other chapter. I am open for suggestions to improve my video since I am new to editing.